Hi there, Glenn Povey of Geneva Studios here. Today I'm going to play you a track that I wrote back in 2003. I was lucky enough to have Alan Davey and Dan Thompson of Hawkwind playing on the track. It's a track I wrote while I was in the band. That was Alan Davey's Bedouin, and it's an instrumental track. I just uploaded it into Pro Tools here to show you what I had to work with. It was recorded live through the desk, I believe, but unfortunately we only got a mix that was being on the desk that night. So when we got it back, everything had been recorded and nothing could be changed as such. So we were left with just a single track, a left and right track mix. So I just thought I'd play this. Here it is in the edit window there. If I just go over now to the mix window to show you, it's here, this one here. And if I just play that, I'll just start a random part of the song. This is with no effects. This is the way I got the track. Which is not bad, but there's things there that needed to be just tweaked. So the first thing I did was I put a bit of stereo width on it. So I'll just show you the difference now with that on there. I'll switch it on and off as it's playing. So that gave it a bit more stereo width, but then the level of it dropped. So on top of that, I put an EQ, but just with the level part of the EQ on that, because sometimes I don't like to mess with the automation here. It's easier just to do it that way. And then I put another piece of EQ on there just to lift the high end, and then just a reverb there as well. So now with the effects on, it's sounding like this. So that's brought the levels up again, but it's still just a little bit thin, I thought, although I like the stereo width now. So what I did was I split that track, and then I left and right panned it, and then one in the center. I think there's two right tracks there and one left. And I just put a bit of EQ on each track there. And I think I put a compressor on that one as well. Just the top end of that one. I can't remember why I did that. So I now just play that again with those new tracks off and then on again to show the difference. So that's bringing out the hi-hats a bit better there, I think. Again, it's not a perfect mix because there's nothing I can change there as far as going into the individual things. I'd like to re-record the track at some point and go into the studio and get it done properly, but hopefully I can track Alan and Danny down at some time to do that. So the actual riff that I'm playing here on the main themes, if you like, is, before I go on to that, I'll just show you something else I did. So that's all I did when I got the track here, but I also felt that you could use a little bit of lifting with synth when we're in the parts of the song. So I just added these parts on here. So on the bridge part, it's kind of more of a spooky sort of theme, if you like, and the main part. So that kind of a melody I'm playing there. And then when you put it against the track now, I'll play the track without that on and then with on like I did with other stuff. So if I go... So I just gave it a little bit more mystery. So the only other thing that I did there was I added a guitar solo in the middle because because the track was written kind of like 2 or 3 hours, I think. I sort of put the idea together. I never had really time to develop it. So, and then back then, of course, there was no real technology where you could play rhythm guitar and then play over the top. So I just stuck with playing rhythm over this part, and then I added the solo, which is kind of a Van Halen tappy type thing. I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but that's the only part I added. There's another guitar solo at the end there, which this was a live guitar solo, and halfway through I flipped over to a wah-wah pedal and had that kind of like treble boost effect to it. So quite a bit Hendrixy, I suppose you could say. Yeah, so that's Alan's voice. You can hear that at the end saying thank you very much. It's recorded in Rye in 2003. It was an art centre down there or something. I can't remember the exact name of the place. So the actual riff of the song, if I go back to that, which I call the main theme. The main theme there is based around the P DE thing, but that B minor pentatonic thing, which is very, very common in rock music, and I've got a little lick in there as well, so that kind of thing. So putting the two together. And so on, vary it a bit. That's what I think I did on the live version slightly. And then the next part, which is the bridge section. Again, that's quite a common sort of idea, of pentatonic there again, but unusually it goes down to like a B flat there, which I suppose musically doesn't really make that much sense, but anyway, there you go. I might change that and put that to B when I go in the studio, do it in that first and then go to G and then back to the main riff, but we'll see how that all works out. Anyway, that's basically the thing as the guitar parts there. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of insight there into what happened with the track and how these things work. This is a very basic mix, but you know, I've done the best I could with it. Like I said, I'd love to go and do it in the studio again with Alan and Danny at some point. So yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and the links if you want to hear the track, it's on all the usual download and streaming sites, but there's links on my website and in the actual song that I'm going to post here. So have a good day. See you soon.